Hello and welcome to Ryno's Orioles Report. Very disappointing end to the season for the Baltimore Orioles. Have been kind of dreading and putting this video off a bit. Trying to let, the end of the season digest and whatnot. But this will be my last video for this season anyway. So probably won't do too many more videos this year, this calendar year, if any. Just don't see a lot of free agency news that would be worthy of a video until we get closer to the start of next season. But if you like and subscribe, we'll be notified when videos drop. So let's get into this video. Let's talk about the first game. Now, it has been mentioned throughout the years of Major League Baseball about teams coming into the postseason hot. You're the division winner. You clinch early. Games mean a little less. You put a little less emphasis on it. Oh, and then Major League Baseball changes the structure of the playoffs and you have to wait 5 days to play your next game after the regular season. And you can say whatever criticism you want of me for complaining or making excuses, but I'm saying it's a real thing. Having 5 days off, it makes your team essentially a cold team. While the other teams, let's say Rangers, yes, they had to go play another series, but they weren't cold. They were able to keep their baseball minds and their baseball abilities warm. And when they won, that gets them hot. So it isn't just that one team is off. It is that one team is playing. 5 days is just way too long. That being said, that's what I see in this game. In this series. Yes, there were a lot of mishaps by the Oriole players and maybe the Oriole manager and coaches, maybe. But if you would say, let's say we start this season last Tuesday. Start this playoff series last Tuesday. I think it goes a lot differently. Just because you don't have one ball club sitting around on their butts doing nothing. What can you do? Play simulated games? Yeah, not the same thing. It's just not the same thing. This was game 1 of the ALDS. Or whatever ALDS game 1. Texas Rangers at the Baltimore Orioles. Rangers 3, Orioles 2. So it was a lot more competitive of a game than, let's say, some of the other ones. Left-hander on the mound, so Henderson moved down in the lineup. Do think there may have been some kind of gamesmanship there in doing that, because then that would mean Gunnar Henderson gets less at bats. Austin Hayes, 0 for 3, did work a walk. Rutschman, also 0 for 3, worked a walk. That hurts. That hurts a lot. Santander, 2 for 3, with an RBI, worked a walk, and scored twice. Santander scored your 2 only runs. You need to lock this man up for a while. Long time. He's got to be here a long time. Mountcastle 1 for 4 with an RBI. Henderson 1 for 4. I certainly understand that you have a lefty on the mound and you don't want a lefty like, say, Gunnar Henderson at the top of, hitting leadoff, I guess. I think to a certain extent you need to get away, and this is Brandon Hyde and the Orioles. I think you need to get away from some of these analytical number matchup garbage. Henderson is one of the best players on your team, if not the best player on your team. He should be hitting further up in the lineup. Oh, because there's a lefty on the mound. Okay, well, if you always do this, then this is what you're going to get. He's not going to be able to hit left-handed pitching if you toss him way down in the lineup or you don't let him hit left-handed pitching at all. Aaron Hicks, 0 for 2, did walk twice. Westberg only gets one at bat, 0 for 1. Westberg gets a start because, again, lefty on the mound. And when the lefty was taken out, Adam Frazier comes in and goes 0 for 3. Hindsight being 2020, I don't know that you should have done that. If anything, I would have said start Frazier, but I just think Hyde what's the word? He messed with the lineup a little too much. Mullins 0 for 3. Arias 1 for 2. O'Hearn pinch hitting late, 0 for 1. Mateo, defensive replacement late. Mountcastle double. Santander home run. They did leave 5 men on base. Henderson caught stealing. His hit was... He didn't walk. He did just get one hit. He's in the 9th inning. And with Aaron Hicks at the plate, Gunnar Henderson tries to steal. Now, supposedly there was supposed to be a hit and run on, and Aaron Hicks, for lack of a better word, missed it. At the same time, I don't know. The way I see Aaron Hicks taking at bats, and you can see the 2 walks there to show what I'm talking about. I would say most, if not all, the bats I see him take are competitive at bats. Yes, he will jump on a first pitch. But yes, he'll go up there and make a pitcher throw him strikes. I don't really want people running around the bases too much. And therefore, let's say he has to swing at a pitch that he wouldn't necessarily want to in order to try to protect his man running. Sure, I really like that decision. Let's go on to the pitching. Kyle Bradish got the start in this one. He actually pitched fairly well. Wasn't able to get too deep into the game, which is slightly regrettable. 4 2/3 of an inning to give up 7 hits, 2 runs, only walked 1, struck out 9. Pitched fairly well. Coulomb came in relief, 2/3 of an inning, no hits, no runs, did walk 1, no strikeouts. Webb, who really has been somewhat reliable for us most of the time he's been here, not so much in the postseason. 1/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk. Not great. On the flip side of that, somebody that I mentioned that when he first came up, I thought he was like the nerves were getting to him. Seems to gotten past that. And how do you get past that? You keep getting out there and your manager keeps putting you out there. And here you go. DL Hall, 1 2/3 of an innings pitched. No hits, no runs, 1 walk, but 3 strikeouts. Someone who I think we're all looking to make the team out of spring training next year. Tyler Wells, 1 full inning pitched. No hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Cionel Perez, 2/3 of an inning. No hits, no runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So really not a bad played game. Really not. It's really when you got to Sunday, it's like the wheels came off. The same Sunday where the Ravens blew their chance to beat the Steelers in the first 3 innings here. It's 9-2 Texas Rangers. Rutschman hitting leadoff today. 1 for 5. Mountcastle hitting next. Again, lefty. On the mound, Mountcastle 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Santander, over. That does not happen too often. Henderson, much better this game. 2 for 4 with a walk, a run driven in, and 3 runs scored. Austin Hayes, 3 for 4, walked once, scored once. Aaron Hicks, 2 for 5, 5 RBIs, scored once. I don't know that I like Hicks being this far down in the lineup. Everything that they say about Rutschman and his approach at the plate, which is true, but for the most part, Hicks does the same thing. Except he has a lot more experience at it. I would have kind of liked to see Aaron Hicks a little higher in the order. I mean, he has the most postseason experience. He had the most postseason experience. I have no idea what the contract situation is here. Most postseason experience on the Orioles here. I would have liked to see him and the team and Brandon Hyde maybe lean on him a little bit more, put him a little further up in the lineup. Maybe even hit him lead off. I mean, you're willing to hit Rutschman lead off. I think Hicks might have been, a good candidate to do that. But he's probably not driving in 5 runs from the leadoff spot. So I don't know. Maybe, 4, something like that. All right. Where were we at? Okay. Westberg, 1 for 4. Nice to see him get a postseason hit. Did score a run. Ryno Hurd, 0 for 1. Pinch hit late. Cedric Mullins, 0 for 5. Jorge Mateo said, screw all that experience garbage. Goes 4 for 4. 1 RBI, 1 run scored. Mateo, 2 doubles. Hayes, Rutschman, Westberg, also with doubles. Hicks, Henderson, home runs. Pretty sure Hicks was the grand slam. So you saw the bats wake up in this game. It's just pitching kind of imploded. Grayson Rodriguez starting this game. I think it was the right decision to get Grayson Rodriguez a start. I know you had other options like, say, Dean Kramer or Kyle Gibson. But I think Kyle Gibson is probably more suited to pitch on the road in the playoffs because he has the experience here. You would think that Grayson Rodriguez, of course, he is from Texas, so maybe we should have held Grayson Rodriguez for Game 3 and maybe pitched Dean Kramer Game 2. I don't know. Rodriguez 1 2/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Not a great one there. Danny Coulomb had to finish out the second inning. Only gets 1 out. No hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Brian Baker who ended up making the postseason roster. I thought this was a surprise to me. Part of it was Means had some kind of elbow soreness, discomfort, something or other. And the Orioles decided not to put him on the postseason roster. Well, Brian Baker, 1/3 of an inning pitched. No hits. No hits. 3 runs. All of them earned. 3 walks. Part of that is Webb, with all these walks, Webb ended up giving up the hit that drove these guys in. But, I mean, 3 walks is, that's not good. I mean, you don't want to give up hits or nothing, but at least you got to make them earn it. Jacob Webb a little bit better in this one. Yes, trying to put out the flames from Brian Baker, but Webb goes 1 2/3 of an inning pitch, gives up 1 hit, 1 run, charged to him anyway. He did allow some of Baker's runs to score. Jack Flaherty sighting. Jack Flaherty got 2 innings in this game. Gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. I don't know, man. I mean, Elias was under pressure to get starting pitching because that was the weak point of this team. I don't know. Tyler Wells comes in relief of Jack Flaherty. Throws 1 inning. No hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Cionel Perez comes in and pitches, what is this, the 8th inning? 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts. So you see where, you have some pieces doing good. You have a few pieces that are just didn't perform as well as you would have liked. Cano pitches the 9th inning. 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk. No strikeouts. 11. You gave up 11 runs. That's tough to come back from that. It's tough. And really, this final game, I think, is a product of, let's say, the last game and maybe even the other game before that, and it being its elimination game for the Rangers. And you got to put up more runs than the Rangers put up, and, well, it didn't go well. Henderson back up at leadoff now, 3 for 4 with an RBI. Rutschman 0 for 4. Did Rutschman get a hit this entire season? He got 1 hit. Rutschman 1 hit the entire series. Santander 1 for 3, did work a walk. Mountcastle 0 for 3, worked a walk. O'Hearn 1 for 3. Aaron Hicks got the day off in this one. Arguably the best hitter you had the whole postseason, and he was on the bench. Okay. I get that there is a core group that's going to be moving forward with the Orioles. We don't know if Hicks is with it yet, but it's guys like Henderson and Rutschman and Mountcastle. You're going to want those guys in the lineup just so they can gain this experience. But 1 at bat for Aaron Hicks, I don't know. I mean, okay. Austin Hayes 0 for 4. Maybe Aaron Hicks should have played left field. Cedric Mullins 0 for 4. Did Cedric get a hit this entire series? No, Cedric Mullins did not get on base the entire series. You hate to remove the glove, but between Hayes and Mullins, I think Hicks should have been in one of those spots. I mean, Westberg played the whole. I mean, okay. However, Westberg 1 for 4, did score a run, but also struck out 3 times. Frazier 0 for 2. Jorge Mateo pinch hit late 0 for 1. Jorge Mateo, the same guy that had 4 hits the previous game, barely saw him this whole series. Somewhat disappointing. The kind of speed and the kind of range he has at shortstop. It's disappointing not to see more of Jorge Mateo in this series. No extra base hits. That's not a good thing at all. Dean Kramer. And this is really what it boiled down to, I guess. 2 bad starts by Rodriguez and Kramer. And it's not necessarily their fault. I mean, a lot of this is the good hitting that the Texas Rangers brought. And the Orioles just didn't have an answer to. Dean Kramer 1 2/3 of an innings pitched. 7 hits, 6 runs, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Tyler Wells in relief, 1 1/3 of an inning pitched. 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Now, I know they were trying to limit Wells and his innings pitched, but he ended up pitching, 1 1/3 here, 1 inning here, and 1 inning there. So what my math is terrible. How many innings is that? 3 1/3 of an innings pitched? I don't see why he wouldn't have started the game. I mean, he was clearly one of your best starting pitchers this entire year. And I get that you didn't want him to go a lot of innings. But you could have started him at least 2 or 3 innings. Because then you had Gibson, if needed be. And then you would have had Kramer, if needed be. Because, I mean, look, yeah, Gibson gave up a run, but he pitched 3 innings. So in 3 innings by Gibson, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Why would Tyler Wells and Kyle Gibson not starting any of these games? I get Bradish and I get Grayson Rodriguez. I don't think Kramer's the next guy. Kramer's DL Hall. I mean, again, a lot of growth from this young man in this season. He's not really young. I mean, he was drafted the same year or the year before Grayson Rodriguez, so he's been in the organization a while. 1 2/3 of an innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Cano gets the last out of the 8th inning because they were on the road. They were in Texas. Does give up a hit, but finishes the game. Starting pitching really got to the Orioles in this series. I keep wanting to say season, but it's a series. Not having John Means didn't help at all. Of course, we're assuming that he would have done better. You don't know. Kind of surprised not to see Cole Irvin. Like, where was Cole Irvin? I mean, you brought Jack Flaherty, but you didn't bring Cole Irvin. You brought Brian Baker, but you didn't bring Cole Irvin. Was Irvin injured? I don't remember hearing that Irvin was injured. And he definitely pitched better than Brian Baker this year. I mean, maybe that's just an opinion, but And then if you had Cole Irvin on a roster, then maybe that removes the need or the want to, let's say, have Wells or Gibson for your long man. Yeah, where? So while Brandon Hyde has made several good strides, and who's to say the roster construction here was solely his decision making, and to say that Mike Elias didn't have anything to do with it? Because to a certain extent, you may want to you want to see these guys perform and see what they can do in the postseason. But there were a few decisions that's like, yeah, no, I don't know that I would have gone that way. I mean, I'm sorry, Dean, but you you wouldn't have been my game 3 starter. I'm either going Wells or I'm going Gibson. And yes, hindsight is 20. We know all this now because it's already happened, and the Orioles essentially the last 2 games. Well, really the last game, I guess, was a very uncompetitive game. Game 1 and game 2 were there was life from the Orioles. It did look like they were making it competitive. So you can't say that the Orioles rolled over and played dead in the whole series. This game, it really looked like it. Part of that is Nathan Eovaldi goes out there and gives the Texas Rangers 7 strong innings of only 5-hit baseball. 5-hit, 1-run baseball with 7 strikeouts. Didn't even reach 100 pitches. So part of it. Maybe if Aaron Hicks was in the lineup, would have been able to work the count a little bit better. But another decision that I don't agree with. But again, you want to see the guys that are probably going to be with this team, and you really have no idea if Aaron Hicks is going to be with this team or not. I don't know what his contract was like. If he was at the end of the contract or if he had still had years on it. Or if that goes away because he gets released. However, well, start wrapping this up. The very wonderful season from the Baltimore Orioles did not end the way we wanted it to. Few questionable decisions by the Orioles staff and by Major League Baseball. Yeah, going back to that 5 days off for the division winners is too long. Because it's not just the Orioles that didn't look that good. The Dodgers didn't look that good. The Braves didn't look as good as they had looked all year. Houston Astros were probably right about where they usually are, I think. This whole experiment of 5 days off for the division winners has got to be axed. It's got to go away. It's just terrible. I don't really care what you do with the wild card people. If you want them to have a tournament, that's fine. Make them have a tournament. I don't really care. You can't make the division winners wait around 5 days. It's too long. It's too long. It's too long off. I would say 3, but I think 4 maybe can work. But then, yeah, you got to fit in some of these games for these wild card people. I don't know. Maybe if you have a 1 o'clock game here or there, could it potentially give them, let's say, a day and a half off if, they play a game on, let's say, a Thursday at noontime. Yes, then they get Friday off, but they also got half a Thursday off or however. Or maybe, and then you start the next series on Friday or something, however. Rambling on here. This is going to do it for this season of Ryno's Orioles Report. Very sad to see you all go. Even though I technically haven't seen any of you yet. Be sure to like and subscribe. That's all for this season, Birdland. Catch you next season.